Thank you. Ms. Warbelow, did you have personal security to attend here today?
I did not, but I do have a security
thank you
as
for
part
that
of my
question,
job.
or thank you for that answer. Ms. Foster, we heard about targeting low-income people. Could you give us just a brief tutorial on Margaret Sanger and Planned Parenthood and their history?
Margaret Sanger is one of the most noted eugenicists in our nation's history, if not the world's history. She believed in targeting minority populations, believed in targeting populations with disabilities, all kinds of just backwards, undemocratic thinking. She also founded Planned Parenthood, which, today performs the lion's share of all abortions in America.
And isn't it true that Nazi Germany actually invited her ilk to their country pre-World War II?
They did.
Yeah. What effect would you talked earlier about the so-called Women's Health Protection Act of 2022 that failed in the United States Senate. Could you comment on how the impact on state governments that bill would have?
It would even go beyond Roe. Roe stripped away protections in all 50 states, even the states that had already moved to liberalize abortion law. It stripped away protections in every single state, protections like informed consent, protections like if you name it, if it was on the books, it was gone. This Women's Health Protection Act, which is incredibly deceptively named, they talk about disinformation. It's not about health or protection. It has nothing to do with the good of women. That bill would strip away every protection that's been put on the books in American history. It would strip away the ability to see our own ultrasounds. If we ask to see our own ultrasounds, that could be denied us again. It would strip away informed consent, any kind of protection on late-term abortion, which of course, as we know, is far more dangerous for the woman, much higher maternal mortality rate. It would strip away protections on chemical abortion, which is even more dangerous than a surgical abortion when it comes to hemorrhage and sepsis. You name it, it's on the chopping block.
So would it remove parental consent?
Yes.
Okay, so we heard some rhetoric earlier about protecting little girls. So in other words, me as parents, my wife and I as parents, so in other words, if we had an underage daughter, that would remove us from the picture, is that correct?
It sure would, yeah.
Does it limit the healthcare information? Does this bill limit healthcare information that can be provided to pregnant women?
The Women's Health Protection Act does. I mean, when we're talking about lack of informed consent, women don't even have the right to get the facts about the abortion, the procedure that they're about to undergo.
Basically what you were saying earlier. Yeah. So I want to thank the chairman yesterday for clarifying the Democrat Party's position in regards to the Hyde Amendment. For those of you not familiar, the Hyde Amendment.
You're welcome.
The Hyde Amendment prevents taxpayer dollars from being used for abortions. So in other words, you should pay for it. And if you have, let's say you have a conscience, let's say for conscience reasons, you say that you do not want to pay for an abortion, that would all go away. And it's terribly unfortunate because we saw many Democrats over the previous decades that did have strong conscience provisions that believed in the Hyde Amendment, and our chairman now has made it very clear that the Democrat Party's position is that you shall pay for abortions if they're going to set the law here in our country. I just want to close with this, and I want to address the young people that are here today. Thank you so much for joining us for this hearing. I want to talk to you about the history of the Republican Party. We were formed in 1854. We are the original single-issue party, and that was to end slavery. And that was accomplished in our country. And we did it over we ended up fighting a war over it. And we are now here to protect life once again. It is now the Republican Party that stands for life in America. I yield back, Mr. Chairman.